So let us have a quick look at the ice conditions around Antarctica. And what we're talking about here is the sea ice. Okay, the sea ice that is formed in the ocean, and also the ice that is melted in the ocean in response to the seasonal cycle of heat fluxes. So, and as you expect, by the end of summer, you always have the minimum seasonal ice extent. And by late winter, you have the maximum extent. And this is shown here. So this is shown here. You can see the ice coverage, okay? And the lines show ice coverage of 15%, 50%, and 85%. So you look at that. So it's sort of like a breathing animal. Okay, it forms ice and forms ice. And as you already learned in your first written assignment, it's only because you have low salinity surface water you can support ice formation in the open. Let's have a look at one feature. This is, you might be surprised to. You know, your critical thinking. This is test now your critical thinking. Okay, is there anything unusual here in these graphs? Have a look at it. You see anything unusual? I mean the late winter distribution. Have a look at it. So what about this yellow spot here? Yellow means this one is a very low ice coverage, less than 15%. How can that be? What's the reason? Why? Okay, so you might come up with some really weird explanations, but it in fact has to do with heat. It has to do with heat, with a mechanism that actually ensures that the surface water is above the freezing temperature, such that no ice can form. Okay, and this is actually what we call a polynya. Let's have a look on the next slide. This is the well-known Weddell Sea polynya. So a polynya is a region in polar seas, a region of ice-free ocean in otherwise ice-covered regions. And it's based on the fact that sea ice can only form if the sea surface temperature drops below the freezing temperature. And what we have here is something called a sensible heat polynya, where the sea surface is kept ice-free through the upwelling of warmer water. Another form of a polynya is a latent heat polynya, and what keeps the polynya ice-free are winds which blow newly formed ice away from a boundary, like a coast. Okay, and here you can see the Weddell Sea polynya from satellite observations. You can actually see that it's also a dynamic feature. It's sort of roundabout on the same location, but it moves a little bit, you know, it's not exactly in the same location. Now I want to show you some ocean observations under and around the polynya on the next slide.